Our News is brought to you by Alive.
Tonight on our news, heavy downpours today as the royal visit continues. From a highly anticipated school visit to a cultural explosion for the Duke and Duchess, and later planned protests with calls for reparations and repatriation. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, heavy rain was not enough to stop activities planned to celebrate the Queen's Platinum Jubilee today. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge got the day started with a special assembly at Sybil Strawn Primary School. This as students were addressed by the Duchess herself. Bethany McDermott was there.
At 10:38 Friday morning, the motorcade carrying the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge arrived at Sybil Strawn Primary School for a special assembly there. The royals were greeted by the school's principal, other senior education officials, and students. The rain wasn't enough to stop eager students from giving the royals a taste of Bahamian culture through song.
Tell me why he made the Bahamas.
They also took some time to talk to some 5th grade students. In her first official visit to the Bahamas, Her Royal Highness Duchess of Cambridge, Kate Middleton, reminisced on what she said was one of the hardest things about the pandemic, being separated from loved ones and friends. She reminded students that it's the simple things that bring the most joy.
I always think it's the simplest things in life that bring us the most joy. Playing together, chatting to your friends at school, eating meals together, and listening to each other's stories. These are the things that bring us together and give meaning to our lives. The connections, the relationships, the friendships that you make during school are so special. So please look after them, cherish them, and take time for them.
She also advised them to be kind to themselves and others.
I see all of you children as the stars of this country, and I hope these difficult experiences have given you the motivation, empathy and compassion to become fully engaged citizens of tomorrow, who will become and make Bahamas the vibrant and life-affirming and soul-enriching place it is today.
Education Minister Glenys Hannah Martin welcomed the royals with these kind words.
I trust that in your travels throughout the Bahamas, as you visit Abaco and Grand Bahama, you will capture a glimpse of our rich culture, that you will witness the indomitable spirit of our people and experience the gracious warmth of the Bahamian people and our generous hospitality.
And before leaving, the couple was presented a painting of Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II and 2 books written by Bahamian students. And as the prince is a major supporter of climate change, the royals planted a tree on the school's campus before leaving for the next event. High Commissioner to CARICOM Leslie Miller-Bryce was instrumental in planning this event. She told Our News this morning how important it is for members of the royal family to be in the Bahamas.
What a wonderful opportunity it is to showcase our beautiful country. We have spent weeks and weeks of planning. We had an amazing local organizing committee who, night and day, they wanted to ensure that everything was in place.
Now, this was the first of a few stops for the royals today. They're also expected to travel to Abaco and Grand Bahama on Saturday. Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
Following that visit, the royal couple made their way to downtown Nassau to attend 2 special events, including a cultural display. Scores of royal watchers braved heavy downpours of rain for a glimpse of the royal couple. Jasmine Brown was there as it unfolded.
Jonathan was back on Bay Street today as the royal couple made their way to Rawson Square, where they were treated to a cultural show. The Junkanoo Rush Out was the grand finale for the Taste of the Bahamas cultural event that took over Parliament Square this afternoon. The Duke and Duchess of Cambridge were accompanied by Prime Minister Philip Brave Davis and his wife Anne Marie as they all got a first-hand view of the Junkanoo Parade. A pre-show for the event also featured music and performances from the Urban Renewal Band and Royal Bahamas Police and Defence Force bands. There to watch it all was scores of eager onlookers, including Bernadette Roll Major, who says she was one of the first to arrive this morning.
From 7 a.m. this morning, I was the first one out here. The police officers wasn't even here when I got here this morning.
And why did you decide to come out?
Oh, I want to see the Duke and Duchess. Why not? I'm excited. I want to see them. I wish Harry was here as well. The four of them should have been here. But since he's here, I'm happy to see him.
Roll Major was not the only fan of the royals who braved heavy rain to see the royal couple in person.
It's awesome.
Despite the rain and the rest of the weather.
The crowd also included dozens of visitors, including these cruise ship passengers from Illinois, who say they couldn't believe their luck when they learned the royal couple was in town.
Did you know that we were going to have a royal visit on your vacation?
No. They announced it this morning when we landed or arrived here.
And so how did it feel to say, I'm on vacation and I get to see the royals?
It was exciting.
It was like, we gotta hurry up and get dressed.
Yeah, we got dressed and got up.
It's a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah, for us. Exciting.
Before this morning's cultural event, the royals attended a ceremony at the Garden of Remembrance where they met with healthcare workers who have been on the front lines of the fight against COVID. Reporting for our News, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Rain or shine, the show must go on. Despite intermittent heavy rain this afternoon, the cultural show went on at Montague Beach. Our Megan Shepard was there.
Rain could not stop the Platinum Jubilee Regatta Friday afternoon. The Bahamas All-Star Marching Band put on a show as spectators awaited the arrival of the Duke and Duchess. Vendors lining the shores on Montague Beach, selling traditional Bahamian food. Shortly after 2 p.m., the liquid sunshine held up briefly, just in time for the royals' arrival. They chatted with vendors and got up close and personal with some fresh local catch. Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper says he believes the entire visit presents an opportunity to showcase the art, culture, and the spirit of the Bahamian people.
Today we're celebrating sailing this afternoon. You know, this is our national sport soon to be. And we see many of our youngsters out enjoying the sport of sailing. It's not a fantastic day in terms of the weather, but yet we're out there. It's a demonstration of our resilience. The Duke and the Duchess checked out the fish coming in. I think that was a great experience for them as well. We were able to share with them the types of fish, the grouper. They seemed very intrigued by the turbot. And of course, the lobster was a favorite as well. But we had an opportunity to tell them a little bit about the conch, not the conch, but the conch. And we've been able to share with them today. And of course, they're off for sailing. So
the royals then set off on the Royal Bahamas Defense Force boat. Minister of Agriculture, Clay Sweeting, says today was very exciting as the ministry gets ready to bring back regattas and homecomings across the country. He even had this bit of advice for the Duke as he prepared to race the Duchess.
The sailors this morning, we had a little meeting over there and they were ecstatic, not just about having the Duke and Duchess, but about being able to experience our culture through sailing once again. I think this speaks to what we are as a country, what we are as a people. And what's exciting is that the Duke and Duchess will be competing against one another today. And I advise them, I think the Duchess should win. Because he's got to go on with her this evening. So it's exciting for us as a country, as a people, to just show them what we are, what we have become over the past 50 years of independence, and how we are going to move forward and incorporate our culture in sailing.
Minister of Youth, Sports and Culture Mario Bolag expressing his pride in the Culture Department and the newly formed Cultural Commission.
To be out here where we can see the Duke and Duchess and those young persons out there sailing is a great feeling to know that, you know, this sport is indigenous to us as Bahamian people, as you know, from 1964 when Jared Knowles would have won the first goal along with Cecil Cook. 8 years prior to that, them running the bronze, and you know, the economic impact that Regatta brings to the family islands through sloop sailing and Regatta is definitely, you know, it's a great feeling to know that we are back on the move. Regatta's back.
Now, despite the advice of the Agriculture Minister, it has been unofficially determined that the Duke won the sailing race on sloop. Ants Nest 2. Reporting for Our News, I'm Megan Shepard.
Well, the Royals seem to have brought some rainy weather along with them. Meteorologist Greg Thompson lets us know how long these conditions will last.
Thanks, Christina. Welcome everybody for our first look at weather on this wet and humid Friday evening. Temperatures very comfortable, 74. We got some light showers out there still, and the mostly cloudy skies. The winds out of the north at 15 miles per hour, and your feels like temperature a very, very cool 71 right now. On our satellite, frontal boundary pushing into the northwest Bahamas with a lot of activity associated with it. Most of the activity waning as we speak. We got some showers and some thunderstorm actually earlier today here in the capital. That front will continue to side towards the south. Should move into the central Bahamas tonight. We could see 1 or 2 more showers later on tonight through tomorrow. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come on our news, rain didn't stop protesters from picketing and protesting the royal visit. And a man is shot and killed on the front porch of a Coleman Lane home. Plus, a school principal speaks up on a disturbing campus trend. That's coming up when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamika.
A group of Rastafarians holding an anti-colonial protest outside Sybil Strawn Primary School challenged by police this morning. Jared Higgs tells us the protest still went ahead despite the poor weather.
You can't come no further. You cannot come any further. That's just for Rastas or for public? That's for everybody?
When a bus of Rastas arrived at the school on Carmichael Road, officers initially instructed them to put their posters away.
I feel victimized this morning, posting in the Bahamas for the first time in my life by people of the same color. I can't believe this.
They settled for moving the protesters farther from the entrance to the school, where the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge attended a special assembly this morning. The weather also proving uncooperative, though. That didn't deter the group of about 25 who continued demonstrating, even during a thunderstorm that passed over. The hardest downpour may have been as the Royals arrived, but the small group of Rastas held out and even looked more energized as they soaked.
In Jamaica, he apologized or said he is sorry for slavery. That's not good enough. We want compensation, we want to return, we want a full dialogue with the British Crown now and now.
The Rastas are known for their agitation for reparations for the transatlantic slave trade and colonialism. They want compensation and repatriation to Africa for those who want to return. A female Rastafarian who identified herself as Empress Fire spoke out.
With the help of God and ancestors who have fought and laid down their lives for this cause, if we are not given our rights and freedom justly, then God and Mother Nature shall take its course.
We want to go home legally. I may have a name, but it's a slave name. What does it matter? I want my name. I want my real sound.
We want a message to send back to Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth that we're still fighting for liberation, freedom, redemption, and repatriation with full compensation.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Jared Higgs.
Meanwhile, families of all murder victims demonstrating outside Sybil Strawn Primary School as the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge visited. Foam founder Candy Gibson says since 2017, she has requested Crown land to build safe houses for victims of abuse or at risk of being murdered.
We're seeing over the past few weeks, we've lost 2 females to domestic violence. One, they said, is a lead suicide. The other one was killed by her boyfriend. So many women in our country are staying in abusive relationships because there's no safe space, there's no shelter, and there's no protection for them. So we're standing here. Yes, we love the Royals. We welcome them to our beautiful Bahama land. But when they leave, our plight remains the same.
In other news, a man was shot and killed sitting on the front porch of a home on Coleman Lane around midnight. Police say the victim was shot several times about the body at a home off East Street. The man was treated by emergency medical services and was later pronounced dead. Police investigations continue. This as a tip led police on Grand Bahama to a major ammunition find on that island. According to police reports earlier this week, a team of officers from the Drug Enforcement Unit acting on intelligence went to Drake Avenue where they discovered a gray duffel bag in nearby bushes. Police say it contained nearly 300 rounds of ammunition, including 45 7.62 rounds, 46.223 rounds, 82 .40 caliber rounds, 73.357 rounds, 21 9mm rounds, 3 9mm magazines, and 100 round drum magazines. No arrests were made with the find. The investigation into that stabbing at AF Adderley this week is nearing its completion. Superintendent Audley Peters confirming as much today. Police taking 2 teens into custody after a break-time stabbing sent another student to hospital with non-life-threatening wounds. The principal of AF Adderley High School, Dr. Virginia Romer, confirming a steady increase in school violence, the worst she's seen in her 5 years as principal.
Since coming back from the pandemic, you would have heard of the fights on the streets. All right, this is the first incident that is now actually happening on our campus. And what we are finding out is a lot of it has to do with, since the kids were home, they did a lot of communication during social media. So a lot of their back and forth words that they shared is one thing to say things to people you're not seeing them, but now that you come back face to face, they can now deal with you for saying it. And so we have had issues because of what has been shared on social media.
Gang and turf wars, community conflicts, and social problems are also making their way onto campus conflicts. Dr. Romer sharing some scenarios ending in physical fights.
Issues we are having is because you belong to a particular gang, you're coming from a particular area. So these are social issues that are now coming, into the campus, on the campus. We have found where, while the kids were home, I had a situation where 2 students almost had a fight on campus. Why? Because while they were home, they were playing games at the same time. If you won the game, the person who lost had to pay you either $3 or $5. And so now when you come on campus, you come now to collect your money. The person comes to school and they come empty-handed without your money. That's an issue for you to fight. All right? So these are the kinds of things. And we had another situation where, because of things that are happening in the community between adults, let's say neighbors or family members, rowing, the kids now take it upon themselves to carry that on between them at school.
When our news comes back from the break, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control changes the Bahamas COVID risk status, plus the latest on the future of the Grand Lucayan Resort. The details when our news returns.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamika.
This is our news. Welcome back. Government has interviewed 5 bidders that expressed interest in the Grand Lucayan Resort on Grand Bahama. Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation Chester Cooper says he's enthused about the future of the property.
We are really happy with the progress we've seen so far. The next level of development is really going to be whittling that list down to the top 3. So there are many great offers, and we want to ensure that we do the best deal for the Bahamian people. So we're excited about it.
And when can we expect a decision on the top 3 and then final?
We anticipate it will be another week or 2 that we will be able to say more on it. But it's important that we get it right. We're going to learn from the mistakes of the past.
Now the Royals are scheduled to visit Abaco and Grand Bahama tomorrow. Cooper says the life and excitement has already begun to return to the second city.
I think over the next 2-3 years, you're going to see many of these things coming out of the ground. The port, the hotel, the airport. It's a great time to be Grand Bahamian. Great time to be a Bahamian. And I think we'll be happy to show the Duke and the Duchess some of the after effects of Hurricane Dorian and the need for sustainability to manage climate change and really to engage the international community on some of these critical issues that confront us as a small country.
Well, the Centers for Disease Control de-escalating the country's COVID-19 risk advisory rating to level 2 or moderate risk. This follows the CDC's March 10th rating adjustment from level 4 to level 3. The Ministry of Health and Wellness making the announcement Thursday, saying the level 2 rating advises international travelers to be up to date with their COVID-19 vaccines before traveling. Unvaccinated travelers who are at risk for severe illness from COVID-19 are advised to avoid non-essential travel. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville says compliance is key to attaining this type of success. And the Free National Movement chairman, Dr. Dwayne Sands, weighing in on promises made to Grand Bahama by the present administration. Speaking specifically to upgrades to Grand Bahama's healthcare system, Sands questioned where the money will come from.
One thing I can say is that the Public Hospital Authority at this point and the public health system finds itself in a very challenging place on the basis of incomplete financing. And so to now go ahead and overexpose the health system even further is quite a gamble. It's an interesting concept. I'd like to hear how they expect it to work.
During the meeting, Dr. Sands was asked his views on why the F&M lost support in Grand Bahama, the chairman attributing the loss to the twin catastrophes of Hurricane Dorian and the COVID-19 pandemic. In the last election, the F&M secured 3 of the 5 seats in Grand Bahama, in contrast to the clean sweep in 2017.
So you may ask, how come a disproportionate number of seats in Grand Bahama, despite the challenges would have been maintained? I think it's a recognition of the people of Grand Bahama that the Free National Movement is for the people of Grand Bahama, no question about it.
When our news returns, how much longer for this rainy weather? Plus, the Church of God marks 101 years. We'll tell you how they're celebrating after this.
Got size at 6'5". Hi, this is Shamika.
Welcome back to our news. The Church of God is celebrating 101 years, making it the oldest Pentecostal religion in the Bahamas. Its annual convention, Possessing the Promise, will run from March 23rd to the 27th. National Overseer Bishop Moses Johnson.
What is going to be different in this convention is that we're going to have our International General Overseer actually open up on the first night. And then we're going to be having our Caribbean Field Director and one of our speakers from Florida. We're also going to have, this time, we're going to have our Church of God National Band. And we're going to have quite a number of delegates who have not been traveling for quite a while, going to be with us.
Well, looks like sunny skies will make a return tomorrow. Greg is back in the Weather Center with the details.
Christina, welcome back everybody for our second look at weather. Very active cold front moving through the northwest Bahamas earlier today. Showers and thunderstorms associated with that. Some of those thunderstorms were strong and it prompted the Department of Meteorology to issue severe weather warnings earlier today. Right now, those thunderstorms are waning. The front is weakening as it sides towards the south. Should be in the central Bahamas late tonight and into tomorrow. But behind that, a nice change in the air mass. High pressure will build across that area. That will usher in some very nice air mass across the islands, and we should see some very nice conditions for the weekend and possibly even into the upcoming week. Boating forecast for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight to tomorrow. Winds will be out of the northwest and north at 10 to 15 knots. Seas running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Your low tide will be at 8:43 tonight. For the southeast Bahamas, that frontal boundary will still be in the central Bahamas, so the winds will be out of the southeast to south at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Here's a look now at your Family Island weather and temperatures for tomorrow. A look at your weather for the next 7 days. Beautiful weather expected for the weekend as that frontal boundary washes out across the central Bahamas. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg, and thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.